Good morning, children. We'll continue with Shakespeare's Tempest, Act 2, Scene 1, page 60 61. We had reached up to that page. Now, here, Gonzalo is trying to console Alonso, but Antonio and Sebastian are making fun of him, are mocking him when he tries to console Alonso. So we came up to there, and the scene takes place in another part of the island. Enter Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, and all the rest. So Alonso is in a very sad mood. He's filled with grief because he thinks that his son Ferdinand is dead. He is drowned in the sea. And we came up to page 61. Gonzalo tries to console Alonso by saying about the advantages of the island. He says it looks very green, it looks fresh, and the air is very fresh. Page 61 on top. When Adrian says, the air breathes upon us here most sweetly. The air appears as if it is perfumed. And Sebastian makes fun of him and says, as if it had lungs, as if the air had lungs and rotten ones too, or as it were perfumed. Antonio adds to that, or as it were perfumed by a fen. When he said the air is sweet, Antonio says, is it perfumed by a fen? Fen is marshy soil. Naturally, there is no perfume there. It is wet, sticky soil. Here is everything advantageous to life, Gonzalo says. Here we have everything which is necessary for life. Here is everything advantageous to life. Immediately Antonio replies, true save the means to live. We have everything necessary is here, but we don't have the means of living. Of that there is none or little. Sebastian adds to it and says there is none or little means of living. Gonzalo, how lush and lusty the grass looks, how green. The grass is so green, so fresh. To which Antonio replies, the ground indeed is tawny. Tawny means brown in color. And Sebastian also makes fun and says, with an eye of green in it. The green, there is only a spot of green, there is only a touch of green, only very little bit of green. He misses not much. Again they are mocking him. He is not very far from the wrong. But what Gonzalo says, it looks very luxuriant, the grass is so good. Sebastian, no, he doth but mistake the truth totally. When Antonio says he is very near the truth, Sebastian again to mock him says he is very far away from the truth. No, he doth but mistake the truth totally. But the rarity of it, something very rare, some striking quality, but the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit. It is incredible. This wonderful quality, this striking quality of the island is unbelievable, incredible. Page 62, Sebastian, as many vouched rarities are. There are many rare things in the world and people swear to have seen such rare things. But Gonzalo doesn't bother about these two people, Sebastian and Antonio. He continues with his ideas, with his talk in order to console Alonso. So the rarity of the island, the striking quality of the island, according to Gonzalo, is that our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glossiness. So, what is the striking quality of the island? Gonzalo says the clothes, our clothes were soaked in sea water, but yet they appear fresh and there is a gloss over them, there is a kind of shine over these clothes. They appear as if they have been recently dyed, not soaked with water. That is the rare, striking quality of the island. Notice what Antonio says, if but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he is lying? If the pocket was able to say something, if the pocket was able to speak, it would say that Gonzalo is lying. That is, their clothes are not flesh, the pockets are wet. Or very falsely pocket up his report. Or the pocket would try to hide the lie that he is speaking. In other words, the pockets might be wet, but it is trying to hide the lie which Gonzalo is saying. That is, their clothes look very fresh. Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Africa, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the Queen of Tunis. Now, Alonso and all these people who are now shipwrecked in the island had gone to Africa to attend the wedding of Alonso's daughter Claribel, who was marrying the King of Tunis. And when they were returning from the voyage, the shipwreck happened. But we know that the shipwreck took place, the storm in the sea took place because of Prospero's magic. And he wants his enemies to come near him for reconciliation. He wants them to repent of their sins and he wants to be reconciled with them. His purpose in causing the shipwreck and having his enemies come to the island is not for the sake of vengeance or taking revenge, but to be reconciled to them, to make them realize the wrong that they have done and to repent of their wrongs and to be reconciled. It was a sweet marriage and we prosper well in our return. Again, Sebastian is making fun. He is saying it was a very grand wedding and we are doing well after we returned from the wedding. In reality, they are not doing well at all because they are shipwrecked on the island. Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen. Paragon means matchless, unequal. Adrian is one of the lords and he says Tunis was never before blessed with such a beautiful queen. Not since Widow Dido's time. Widow Dido, plague of that. How came that widow in Widow Dido? Now earlier you have studied about Queen Dido. She was queen of Carthage. Aeneas in his travels came to Carthage and Queen Dido fell in love with him. He promised to remain faithful to her, but he set off again on a new voyage and he failed to return. And Queen Dido used to walk on the seashore waving the willow, which is a symbol of forsaken love. What if he had said, Widower Aeneas too, good Lord, how you take it? Widow Dido said you make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis. That is, widow belonged to Carthage, she did not belong to Tunis. And the implication here is also there, is here, because of the shipwreck, Naples and Milan will have so many widows if the men in the ship are not able to return to their own country. Alonso and all the lords and other people along with him in the ship, if they are not able to return back to Naples and to Milan, there will be a lot of widows in both these places. And Gonzalo says, this Tunis, sir, was Carthage. Carthage, I assure you, Carthage. That is, Tunis and Carthage are one. His word is more than the miraculous harp. Miraculous harp refers to the magic harp of Apollo, which when he played the music on the harp, the walls of Thebes was raised up. And here, Antonio is saying that Gonzalo's words are such that he is able to create a new city when he says that Carthage and Tunis are one. His word is more than miraculous harp. He hath raised the walls and houses too. He has not only raised the city, but he has also raised the walls and houses. What impossible matter will he make easy next? What difficult problem is Gonzalo going to solve next time? Sebastian, I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it to his son for an apple. The impossible thing, what impossible difficult problem is Gonzalo going to do? Antonio says, and again Sebastian mocks him and says that he might carry the island as if it were an apple. He might take it home and give it to his son. Now they are, both of them, Sebastian and Antonio, as I said earlier, they are mocking Gonzalo. Antonio, and sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more islands. He will sow the seeds and more islands will grow as a result. Why in good time? Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen. By marrying the king of Tunis, she has become queen. And Gonzalo doesn't bother about what Antonio and Sebastian says. He continues with his ideas, with his talk. And the rarest that ever came there, the best queen that has ever come to Tunis is Claribel. Bait, I beseech you, widow Dido. So, oh yes, then again Antonio and Sebastian remind them of Dido. Oh, widow Dido. Actually, there is not much meaning in what they talk. They just want to mock. Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort. In a sort means in a sense. My jacket is so fresh, as fresh as when I wore it for the wedding. That sort was well fished for. That sort was correct. When you say in a sort, in a way your garments are fresh, the meaning is correct. You have said correctly. When I wore it at your daughter's marriage, Alonso, you crammed these words into my ears. That also is his grief cannot be consoled. He is thinking of Ferdinand. He does not want to listen to any words of comfort now. You cram, you are forcing your words, you are forcing me to listen to your words of comfort. And I am not inclined to listen to it. The stomach, against the stomach of my sense means I am not inclined to listen to your words of comfort. You cram these words into my ears, against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there. For coming thence, because we went to Claribel, now Alonso says he wished he had not married his daughter Claribel in Africa, in Tunis. Because we went there, we have to face. My son is lost. On the return journey from Tunis, I have lost my son. And I wish I had not married my daughter there. For coming home For coming thence means coming from Africa, my son is lost. And in my rate means I think so. She too. Clarabelle is so far away, and I consider that she is also lost to me. Who is so far from Italy removed. She is so far away from Naples. I never again shall see her. It is not easy. The distance is so much. So, in a way, Alonso says that he has lost both his son Ferdinand and his daughter Clarabelle. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan. He is saying about Ferdinand. He is king of Naples, but Milan is forced to pay an annual tribute. So he considers Ferdinand as the heir of both Naples and of Milan. What strange fish hath made his meal on thee? What strange creature has swallowed you? How did you happen to die? Francisco. So he may live. Francisco also tries to console Alonso. There is a chance that Ferdinand is alive. I saw him beat the surges under him. Surges are the waves. And Francisco says, I saw him struggling against the waves and ride upon their backs. He trod the water. It seems as if he is floating on the water. He is fighting the waves with his strong arms. So, there is a good chance that he is still alive. Whose enmity he flung aside. Enmity is the strong waves. He put the waves aside. He overcame the waves. He struggled against the waves bravely. Whose enmity he flung aside. Enmity there refers to the waves of the sea, against which Ferdinand struggled and breasted. The surge most swollen. Surge is the strong waves that met him. His bold head. Still, Francisco says, even though the waves were so strong and violent, Ferdinand's head was above the waves and he was struggling very bravely to save his life. The surge most swollen that met him, his bold head above the contentious waves. Contentious also, very strong, violent waves. And oared himself with his good arms in lusty strokes. He, with his strong arms, he struggled very bravely, and I am sure that he has reached the shore, to the shore. That over his wave-worn bases bowed. Thus he has reached the worn-out beach that seemed to stoop to help him. It seemed as if the island was coming forward to help him as he was struggling to reach the island, as stooping to relieve him. It appeared to Francisco as if the island itself was coming forward to save Ferdinand from drowning. I not doubt, I am sure, he came alive to the land. He is alive. Alonso, no, he is gone. He refuses to be comforted. Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss. You yourself are to blame for this fate which has happened. You are to blame for the loss of Ferdinand. You are responsible. Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss that would not bless our Europe with your daughter. You did not allow Claribel to remain in Naples so that she could have been the Queen of Naples, but rather lose her to an African. You gave her away to an African prince. She should have married a European prince and she should have remained in Naples, but rather lose her to an African. So you have given her away to an African prince, where she at least is banished from your eyes. So for the moment she is so far away, and you cannot hope to go near her very quickly because of the distance. So she is also in a sense banished away from you. Who hath cause to wet the grief on it? So now your eyes have some reason to cry, some reason for tears, because you insisted that Claribel should marry the Prince of Tunis. Prithee, prithee, enough of it, no more. So instead of consoling him, Sebastian and Antonio tried to make his grief greater. You were kneeled and importuned otherwise. You were kneeled, all of them knelt down and begged. Importuned means begged. Alonso, that Claribel should not be taken to Tunis. You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us. All of us had suggested, had begged you not to take Claribel and marry her to an African prince. And the fair soul herself, even Claribel was not inclined, was not in favor of this wedding. And the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. She did not know which option to take. She wanted to obey her father. She wanted to show her obedience to her father by marrying the Prince of Tunis. But she was against the marriage. And she did not know which to decide, whether to obey her father against her will or to refuse this marriage. We have lost your son. So again, Sebastian blames Alonso for what the fate that has come to them. I fear forever Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making. Then we bring men to comfort them. The fault is your own. So because of this voyage to Tunis, we are responsible for making more widows in Milan and Naples. And we have more widows, then we can provide men for comforting them. In case all these people on the ship are not able to return to Milan and Naples, there will be more widows there, thinking that all these men are dead. So is the dearest of the loss. Because of this fault, I have suffered heavy loss. Because of this wedding, I have suffered heavy loss. My Lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness. You might be speaking the truth, but it is you're presenting the truth in a cruel way at a time which is not suitable for such kind of talk. When Alonso is filled with grief, it is your duty to comfort and console him, not to find fault with him. The truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it. This is not the time to find fault with Alonso. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster. You are making the pain more. You are making Alonso's pain greater. You are increasing his pain. Sebastian, very well. Antonio, and most Chirigoyenly. Actually, there is no word like that. So, he is saying, you should act like a surgeon to cure the king's wound. Because Gonzalo says that you are rubbing the sore, aggravating the pain instead of consoling him. It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy. It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy. We all feel very sad because Alonso is sad. Foul weather, and Sebastian says, does it make you sad? Antonio says, very sad indeed. Gonzalo, had I plantation of this isle, my lord, if I had the right to colonize this island, if I were in a way, the ruler of this island, again, before he could continue with what he wanted to say, Antonio interrupted and said, he would sow it with nettle seeds. He will sow thorns in the island if he were the king of the island or if he colonized the island. Or docks or mallows. Or he will cover the island, he will sow the island with roadside seeds. Roadside weeds. Weeds which grow on the road. Weeds are useless plants. So if he were king of the island, he will grow only roadside weeds in the island. And were the king on it, what would I do? But Gonzalo doesn't bother much about their talk. He continues with what he would do if he were king of the island. Escape being drunk for want of wine. Again he makes fun of Gonzalo. If you are king of the island, you won't be drunk because there is no wine in the island. Gonzalo. In the Commonwealth, that is in this island, if I colonize this island, if I am the sole authority of the island, I would by contraries execute all things. I will not rule this island in a way which other places around us are ruled. My rule, my authority will be different. Now here Shakespeare is presenting an ideal commonwealth, an ideal state. In the commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things. I will not follow any system of government which is practiced in other countries. For no kind of traffic. I will not allow any work to be done. I will not allow anybody to work for others. Would I admit? No name of magistrate. There will be no officials, no other authority. Letters should not be known. There will be no writing and receiving of letters. Riches, poverty, there will be no riches and there will be no poverty also. No rich, no poor. And use of service. No need for anyone to serve others or work for others. None. Contract, succession, bond of land, tilth, vineyard, none of these. There would be no agreements, no laws, no documents of succession, no limits, no boundaries. All these things will be avoided in my commonwealth. That is what Gonzalo says. No use of metal, corn or wine or oil. There will be no need of weapons. There will be no need of any metals or corn or wine or oil. No occupation. People need not do any work at all. All men idle. Each and every one will remain idle on the island. All. And women too. Women also need not do any work, but innocent and pure. At the same time, the people